12 commands that will change the way you see the terminal. Hello guys, today I will show 12 commands in the command line interface that every developer should know. The commands can be used in any Linux distribution or macOS. I'm not sure about Windows, but I think there are similar commands that can be used. If you're ready, click on the subscribe button and let's start. I will start with some file manipulation commands. The first one is one of the most used commands for developers. I'm talking about git. Git is not only to work with projects in teams. I use git to safely store my personal projects, to test different approaches with some scripts, or just to keep a track of the modifications in some files. Another command I use a lot to manipulate files is the file editor, is vim. Edit a file like a hacker, use vim. Vim is a powerful file editor. The first thing compared with visual editors is that I don't need to use the mouse. So I have my hands always on the keyboard. So I am faster. I have fewer unnecessary movements. Another point is the number of available plugins I have. Colors, open the languages, autocomplete, formatting and more. And the last point is the number of keyword shortcuts. That may be the point most feared when working with Vim. But Vim has a very complete tutorial that helps to get comfortable with the shortcuts and learn some new. One last command for file manipulation. Sometimes I don't need to edit a file, but just read it. Sometimes with big files, very big files. It may take several minutes to open them in a text editor. Here comes less. The less command opens a file very quickly, as it doesn't read the complete file in memory. Then, with simple shortcuts, I can know the size of the file, the number of lines, and navigate through the file as with Vim. And if the file is compressed, I have the zless command, which does exactly the same. Okay, I finished with the file manipulation. Let's go now with some more interesting commands. I will explain some already known commands, but a better way to combine them. First, the pipe symbol. With the pipe symbol, I can change commands. The pipe symbol means that the output of my previous command will be the input of the next command. This way, I can read a file as the first command, filter some lines, replace some text, and store the result in another file. First, to read a complete file, I have cat. Cat will open a file and output all the content in the terminal. It is very useful for small files. For files up to 20 lines, I can easily read the content of the file. But if the file has more than 200 lines, making a cat on the file will just scroll down my terminal until the end. It can be better to use the less command in this case. But if I change some other commands after the cat with the pipe symbol, this becomes very interesting. Okay, but reading the complete file is sometimes overkill. What if I want only the beginning or only the end of the file? I have the head and the tail commands. Both accept the parameter -n with the number of lines I want to display, from the beginning or from the end of the file. Another interesting thing with the tail command. When working with files which are being edited as log files, when some new logs are being appended at the end of the file, I have the -f parameter. This leaves the connection open to the file and reads the new incoming data at the end of the file. The -f parameter follows the change of the file. Okay, now that I can obtain all the content of the file, I want to filter some lines with the grep command. The grep command lets me filter lines that contains a specific text or regex. With the parameter -v, I can also filter by inverse matching. I can read the lines which don't contain the given string or regex. And what if I want lines containing some text and the next line, or the previous line? I have the -a for after and -b for before with the number of lines I want. I can filter some lines to be returned with the lines after the specific one or with the lines before the specific one. And finally, as with zless and zless, I can filter compressed files with zgrep. There are a lot more features with the grep command, as searching immutable files at the same time, getting the line number, and more. The grep command lets me filter some lines from a text file. And now with the sed command I can replace some content. The sed command lets me replace the content of a line based on a regex. If I apply the sed command directly to a file, it will search and replace in all the lines of the file. The sed command is also present in the Vim editor. Sometimes with CSV files, the sed command is difficult to obtain data from single columns. The awk command lets me separate a line in columns and make simple operations with the selected columns, string formatting, numbers operations, and more. Finally, when I've made all of my comments in a pipeline, when I've concatenated all of my desired comments with the pipe symbol, I can store the result in a file with the greater than symbol. The greater than symbol will store the output of the pipeline into the indicated file. If the file already exists and I want to append my result at the end of the file, I have the double greater than. Okay, next level. I've shown the file manipulation commands and the pipeline commands. And now comes the resources manager commands, the commands that will inform me about the status of my computer. Let's start with the hard drive. With the du command, I will display the disk usage of a specific folder. I can ask to du to display how much disk uses a folder and its subfolders within a depth of 2. I can ask to display the information in bytes or in a human-readable way. Then I have the df command to display the global disk free space, the free space of all of my partitions. As before, with the -h to have a human-readable way in megabytes or in gigabytes. What about the CPU and the running processes? I have the htop to monitor the current state of my machine, how much CPU is used, how much cores are used, how much swap memory is used, and which processes are the most CPU consumers or memory consumers. Then, with the ps command, I can list all of the processes running in my machine. With the parameters aux, I list all the running processes of all the users and running in background. How many times I've started an application and the application stopped, saying that the port is already in use? Too many. With netstat, I can see which ports are opened in my machine and which processes opened them. Nevertheless, the parameters are different from Linux machines than from macOS. Knowing which process is using a specific port, it's easy to stop it. This will free my port. To stop any process, I need the PID from the ps command or from the netstat command. Then just kill the process. Finally, this command is the one which allows me to use the terminal like a professional. With tmux, I can create a new terminal session within my terminal. Detach it, come back later and see the progress of a long-running task. I can split my screen horizontally, vertically, in tabs and naming all of this. The last command is the man command. The man command displays the information manual of any command I want. With the man command, I get the help of any command. This makes me easy to learn how to use a new command. I can see the accepted parameters and sometimes a few examples. That was my 12 favorite commands. I hope you liked it. Don't hesitate to add in comments your favorite commands. Don't forget to click on the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to be aware of more tips that I will publish soonly. And bye!